this is like major sepia vibes. All right. Hey there, crafter. I'm Anna from Creations Realized, and I'd love to welcome you to the craft room. I recently moved across the country, which meant I had to say goodbye to the old craft room. However, after having time to settle in, I'd love to introduce you to the new space. So say hello to the new and improved, and in a drastically different location, craft room. And I thought, what better way to celebrate than to do a tour? So you're gonna come along with me and we're gonna see all of the nooks and crannies of this space. We'll see a storage solution that actually works a ton of DIY decor that cracks a smile on your face but doesn't break the bank. And a whole bunch of other things that just make sense to have in this space for me. So if you're looking for ideas or inspiration for your own space, or you want to peek at what's ahead, you are in the right space. So welcome to this craft corner of the internet. Get cozy, wrap up in a blankie, grab a drinky drink, and maybe a notepad or your Pinterest board, because we're getting started. But before we get started, I want to share a few quick things. 1. You might have already caught glimpses of this room. I posted a few videos already showing me setting up this space and decorating it. So if you want to join me in that, feel free to watch those videos. I have them linked below. Number 2, if there's anything in this space as we do this tour that catches your eye, that you like, that you want to remember and tuck away in your back pocket, I have pictures uploaded on my Pinterest of this space that you can pin to your own boards to remember for later. And 3, I just want to reiterate that the things that I'm about to show you and in this space are just solutions, ideas, and things that I just like in general and that work for me. It is by no means a standard or a way in which I'm saying that this is how things need to be done. It is just the things that are working for me right now, and I would just love to welcome you into it and share it with you. So why don't we get started? Storage is so crucial, right? Whether you have a craft room or not, it is so nice to have an organized space to put all of your tools and materials so you know exactly where everything is. Like that skein your aunt gave you a month ago, or so that you don't misplace this 7-stitch marker this week. Just kidding. We're gonna go around this room in a minute and I'm gonna show you my storage solutions, but these are the things that are really working for me right now, and maybe it'll give you a few ideas of your own. A lot of the storage options I have in this room are things that I already owned around my house. This is a common theme that you're gonna see throughout the video, and the reason that I like this is because that gives me the opportunity to test out different storage solutions to find the certain one that's gonna work for me in the moment before I go out and upgrade. It's almost turned kind of like into this challenge for me. I'm like, what cool things could I find around my house that I'm really not using very well at the moment and that don't really have a purpose right now, and I could give a new purpose in this space. And because it's a hodgepodge of a whole bunch of different things, the vibe is kind of eclectic and I'm living for it. So enough talk, let's go see what these storage solutions actually are. Come with me. Okay, we're gonna start over here. Let me go grab it. It's kind of dusty. The spin doesn't look like much, but I promise you it is everything to me once I figured out how to use it for myself. This spin in my last craft room used to hold all of my yarn, any yarn. New skeins, broken into skeins, skeins that I caked, and skeins that were basically scraps. And you can imagine what a nightmare that must have been. Yarn tangling, yarn unraveling, it's knotting, it's no! So that solution wasn't quite working for me, so I gave it a new purpose. It is now the doomed whip bin. But it's actually not as bad as it sounds. Come closer. All of the whips that I currently have live in this bin. The way that this works so it is not a doomed pile of a hodgepodge of a whole bunch of different projects, you can't even distinguish which project starts and where it ends, is that each project has its own bag. So this is a whip, this is a whip, and so on and so forth. When I want to continue working on a whip, if I continue working on a whip, I go to this bin, I open it up, I pull out the whip, I work on it, and when I'm done working on it, and I know I'm done working on it for now, it goes right back into the bin. And what's nice about this solution is that whip bins can feel a little messy, but you tuck her into her bag, you put all of the bags in this bin, and all you have to do to reduce the visual clutter, the visual mess, the things that you just don't want to see, you just close the lid. You clasp it down, and it's just in one package. Clean, closed, tucked away. It at least feels a lot better for me. So this is how I store all of my whips. Let's move on to the next solution. While I was over there, I did find this, which I think could be maybe important or helpful for me to talk about, is I have a working whips bag. In this bag, I have about 1 to 2 whips that I'm working on constantly. And the reason I put them in this bag as opposed to the bin is because I'm working on them so often. I want them to be a little bit more easily accessible. And what's nice about it being in this bag too is that I can just take this wherever I want to go. If I want to take it to a different room of my house or go over to a friend's house, I have everything right here immediately ready to go. And say that I don't want to work on a project that's in this bag currently, I can always swap it and exchange it with something that is in the bin. So this is kind of like my work in progress. That's literally what whip means. Okay. These are the projects that I currently really do want to work on. And so I have this readily available, easily accessible for me to just pick up a project when I want. And it's kind of that nice in between having a pile on the floor and then the big bin. So this is my little compromise, my in between, and maybe that's helpful to you too. All right, we are on to the next idea, and it is this dresser. I acquired this dresser from a friend. She had no room for it anymore, and she came to me and said, Anna, I know that you just moved and maybe you could have a use for this dresser. Maybe you could put it in your craft room, or I know that your husband, he's a big tech nerd. He probably has a whole bunch of cords or something that he could put in it, but I don't have space for it. So if you want it, please take it. And a light bulb came on in my mind, and I immediately said, yarn storage. And this has turned out to be such a game changer, and let me tell you why. So there are several drawers to this dresser. Each drawer is about that big. So when you have your yarn in here, you can see all of the colors, all of the skeins. Maybe it's like a layer or two deep, but you can see everything, as opposed to layers and layers of skeins that I used to have in the big blue bottomless pit of a bin. And every time you dug your hands deeper, you felt more and more of the yarn unraveling and becoming knotted, and it was not my favorite. So we moved on from that. And I even went as far as to group the different drawers with like yarn. So let's talk about each drawer. Oh, wait. Okay. Drawer number 1. Drawer number 1 has all of my scrap yarns, all the little bits and pieces that are too much to throw away, but too little to, I don't know. I just don't want to throw it away. Drawer 2 holds all of my cotton yarn. It's just simple that way. Drawer 3 holds all of my skeins that I've broken into but aren't quite small enough to fit in the scraps drawer of drawer number 1. So they live in drawer number 3. Drawer number 4. Drawer number 4 holds all of my chenille yarn, my bulky, my plushy yarn, and it also holds yarn that I've been gifted. So it kind of has a dual purpose in that one. And drawer number 5. Drawer number 5 holds, it's coming to me, all of the skeins that I have not broken into. So full skeins that I have yet to use. This system has been working out so swimmingly for me because when I start a project, I can come to my dresser and know exactly where the yarn that I need for that specific project is. It has made my life so easy, and I am experiencing a lot less doom than I was in that big blue bin. So recommend. So this is my yarn and how I've stored those things, but typically as crafters, we need to store more things than just that, right? Sometimes we have other tools and materials that need to be organized and have homes too. So let's talk how I've stored my non-yarn things. Heading over to the opposite wall here, we've got these beauties. These hold a majority of everything else that I have to store in this craft room, whether that's crochet related, other craft related, or literally just other. We're gonna start with this one. I'm gonna need my stick again for this. These drawers pretty much hold everything else that is crochet related that I own. So in this top drawer, I have safety eyes, a little tool that helps me remove safety eyes, different like pens and paper and notepads so I can sketch out different charts or ideas. And I also have things such as my yarn winder in here. In the second drawer, I have polyfill, which is actually so OP that it has its own drawer because it's so easy whenever I need it. All I need to do is lean over, open the drawer, grab some polyfill instead of having to go find it, lug the whole bag to where I want to work, you know, and do all of those different things. It's so much easier to just have its own dedicated little drawer. I'm thankful that I can do that. And in this third drawer, I have my blocking mats. About a year ago, I decided that it was time for me to get blocking mats. I love that it has its own drawer because it is made of foam. I like that I don't need to put anything on top of it that could imprint onto the foam. And then I also have these beads in here, and that's literally just because there was a little bit extra space and I didn't know where else to put them. So that is this drawer. Moving on to literally right here. And here we have an organization powerhouse, my cube organizer. I love this type of organizing like things into different buckets, or in this case, bins. I don't need to have everything with an exact outlined placement. I just like to tuck like items into a bin. And what's nice about this is you can slide the bin right back into its cubby, reducing that visual mess and that visual clutter, which I really like. So I thought we could go around each of these bins and see what exactly am I storing and using them for. This bin holds different camera gear and supplies that I don't need to access very often. And this bin, you're not gonna like this bin. I call it my tech bin. This is a bin that I have all of my miscellaneous charging cords or lighting things all tucked away. Again, reduce that visual clutter. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, you just don't see it. And here I have all of my embroidery, different floss, thread. I call this my office bin, but really it should be called like my miscellaneous craft bin because I have like different markers, I have glue, tape, all tucked away right in here. And here is a fun drawer, and we'll get back to that later. This one is still figuring out its purpose, but currently I have old t-shirts in there, which I hope to turn into usable yarn someday. So that's what's in there. I also have a few exposed cubbies. So over here, I have camera gear that I use on the daily, and the others, I have just super cute knickknacks that I like to see. And then in here, I just have a bin of a whole bunch of old, new, and current journals that I just don't touch, but they're there in case I need them. So that's how I store things in this craft room. That's the things that are currently working for me right now. And now it's time to talk decor. Now, decor is so fun. It's probably one of my favorite things. It is such a fun way to enhance your space, add some character, and make it just a place that you would love to be in every single day. And I would love to share with you some of the decor I got around this craft room. Some of it's crocheted, some of it's thrifted, some of it's DIY, but all of it is just so fun. So let's take a look together. First up, I have this letterboard. I got it off of Facebook Marketplace years ago for my wedding, and now I've repurposed it, brought it into this space. It's kind of just a fun nod to the channel, so I love having it in here. Next, I have cute little crocheted plants. If you do not want the responsibility of keeping live plants, well, alive, then I totally recommend crocheting some for your space. Here I have this easel Lego set. It's a 3-in-1 set, and I think we originally got it because one of the sets is a fish tank and we didn't want to commit to real fish at the time. But once we moved here and unpacked the box, I thought, what more fitting thing could I put in a craft room than an easel? So here it is. You'll also notice that I have a ton of random glass jars around this place. I have just made it my obsession that once I finish a food item that was in a jar, I clean it out really good and hoard it until I have a purpose for it. So let me show you some of the ways I've used jars around this room. I have this jar here, and to be fair, I think this jar is thrifted. It definitely did not hold food, but it currently is holding my extra set of crochet hooks. I've turned it into decor, so even when I'm not using it, it is still holding such a fun purpose. Oh, and guys, I do have to admit that I am not just a crochet enthusiast, a craft enthusiast. I also love plants. You're gonna see so many plants around this room. It is unfair how much joy they bring me. I love caring for them. So I have a ton around, and these two are in those reused, repurposed food jars. So I think I have like a strawberry jelly jar, a queso jar, a tikka masala jar, lots of different jars housing my plants. And speaking of plants, I also have little coasters that I've made for them. I love how this was crocheted and structured. And so honestly, maybe sometime in the future, I'm gonna play around with that technique and see if maybe something comes out of my own. Another option if real plants are not your thing is to crochet little flowers. In this craft room, I have tulips. And they are literally so fun, so simple, and actually very beginner friendly. So please go check those out if those are interesting to you too. Other things that I have in this craft room as decor that I just love, that just match my vibe so much, is I thrifted a few flower books that are just so beautiful. The imagery in them, I just love it. I adore it. So they're in here. I've crocheted a pillow. It was a donut, supposed to help me with my posture, but didn't, but that's okay. I have my attempt at punch needle in here, but I have one thing that I think is my absolute all-time favorite, and I'd love to show it to you. And that decor item is my cork board. On that cork board, I have a lot of projects that I just love. So I have 6 super famous paintings on there that were turned into a grid and I made into a tapestry project. I created a few of my own tapestry grids. So that's the camera and the 2 fruits that you're seeing. And if you would like access to those grids, let me know. I would love to get that all situated and published for you guys. And last but not least, making appearance on that cork board as well are like my stitch strips, like swatches that I had in the Pantry of Potholder series. And that is just such a fun homage to that series too. So it's my favorite, it's practically my baby, and I just am in love. And in the future, I would love to crochet a ton of granny squares for this wall. So stay tuned to see this wall fill up with a whole bunch of granny squares. And I've got other wall decor in the works, so you're not gonna wanna miss that. And last but certainly not least, and the namesake of this video, there are other things in this craft room that just make sense for me. And I'd love to show them to you. In my working whip bag, in my travel whip bag, whatever you want to call this bag, I have in here my crochet hook case. Whenever I need to go get a hook or to get a stitch marker or need my tapestry needle or scissors, it is all in here, and it practically lives in that bag because that's where all of my working projects in that immediate time are. So it's a place where I always know where it is, I always know where my stitch markers are, I always know where my tapestry needles are. Everything just lives in this. This case has been so handy for me to have because I used to have all of my hooks that I had acquired in a jar, of all things. But as I acquired more and more things and wanted to go places with it, having this thing, game changer. Could just tuck it all in here, travel with it. It goes right back into my bag. And I always know where everything is. So that's been awesome. Another thing that just makes sense for me to have in my craft room is peeking right behind me. Let's go check it out. I love amigurumi projects, and I don't know about you, but I have found where I will just crochet one after the other, after the other, after the other, to where I have 12 million of them and I don't know what to do with them all. Well, this item has helped clear up some of that issue for me. And it's the cart. Should have a fun name for it. But on this cart, I have a plethora of amigurumi projects that I've done over the years, and instead of them just rotting tucked away in my closet, now I have them on display. They're all out for me to enjoy, but they're not like chaotic. And so I have some fun, really big ones. I have a tray full of a bunch of plants, which is just so beautiful. I mean, come on, come on. And then down here are like different chenille ones. Sorry, string of pearls. I have different ones that I made out of bulky yarn. They're just little and they're all cute. And this is a way that I can enjoy them, that they serve another purpose again, instead of just, again, rotting in my closet, unseen to the world. So if you find yourself in a similar situation, maybe consider getting a cart. They're super easy to find, lots of different colors, and you can tuck them wherever you want. And I just have mine live here. The next thing that I have in here that just makes sense for me to have is my pillow corner. Sometimes I just get bored sitting at a desk and I would rather sit on the floor. Some people call me a floor person. So why not make it cozy and have a little pillow corner. And what's also super nice about this is that when I have friends come over, there is a cozy, comfortable space for us to craft together in, and I just love that. Now this next one's gonna be very unique. Let me just show you. In this drawer, I told you we'd come back to it. I have jars, again. And in these jars, pickle jars, I have yarn scraps. I've decided that I want to be a person who saves yarn scraps. Originally, I was going to save them, recycle them, put them into different amigurumi projects that I was making. But then as I was storing them in these jars, I thought, how cute. And what a fun way to commemorate my projects, because I can look at this jar and the different layers of yarn that I'm seeing and just remember what each of these projects was. So it has now become, well, it used to be a decor item. Now it's just another way to store things, but it just makes sense in my brain for me to have. So that's why it's here. And the final thing that just makes so much sense for me to have in this room is my desk. I crochet a lot, but about 50 to even 75% of the other time, I'm thinking of you guys, of the videos I'm going to make, the things that I think are going to be helpful and inspiring, and I'm scripting and I'm editing these videos. And so it just makes so much sense for me. And it's so much easier to have my desk in here, in the place where it all started, in the place where the action happens, to continue working on these projects and sharing them with you guys. Plus this room, I made it for me personally so cozy, so why wouldn't I want to be in here like 24/7? So, my desk. Important, 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 and so wonderful that I can have it in here. Oh boy, it got dark in here. We just had so much fun touring the craft room, and the craft room in all its charm and character. Thank you so much for coming on this little tour with me. I hope it was fun, that there was some insights, a glimpse into a little bit of how I roll. And again, if there were any things that you liked, that you saw in here, great ideas that you want to keep and tuck away in your back pocket, I have these pictures uploaded of around my craft room on my Pinterest. Again, that'll be linked below. Feel free to find that board and save them to your own. Craft rooms, craft corners, craft spaces, areas, all different types of orientations are so fun and so unique to each person who put them together. And I know mine is. And I'd love to hear about yours, so feel free to drop a comment and tell me more about it. Thank you so much, and I hope that you join me in the craft room again. See you later, Craftigator.